Commissioner's office does not have the authority. We ask for the authority in the legislative review. That's something that, again, parliamentary members can recommend for the next round of legislative amendments.
And has the Canada Border Services Agency contacted you about implementing the Procurement Ombuds recommendation concerning proactive disclosure?
Not again, because it's not something that falls within my authority. The only relationship that we have with CBSA is with respect to complaints with access to information requests, and those complaints are active. So we are investigating those as we speak.
Okay. And in your experience, how common are issues with this piece about proactive publication of federal contract information? Do you just have any, general experience with seeing that happen?
I can tell you that a lot of complainants are trying to complain about it because they are aware that this is something that needs to be done. But because it's not within my authority, we don't keep track of who's doing it, who's not doing it. I'm busy enough with the 4,000 complaints that I receive every year under the access to information. I don't have a team that could be doing that. But I know that people in the public are complaining about these lists not being updated.
Great. Okay, so sections 13 to 26 of the Access to Information Act set out the exemptions that prevent federal organizations from providing access to government records as part of access to information requests. Much of the federal documentation requested by the committee was provided with redactions on the same grounds as these exemptions. So in your view, do exemptions in the Access to Information Act extend to parliamentary committees' right to access all information contained in these documents? Why or why not?
I believe that the parliamentary privilege of access is a different system. It should be treated differently. I think the Access to Information Act can be a good tool in terms of some of the exemptions deals with security, national security, and what the test is in terms of releasing some of that information. Same thing for commercial information. It could be, again, a tool that could be used to determine whether information would be harmful. But at the end of the day, the Act does not apply to a request made under parliamentary privilege. So it's a complete different environment.
Okay. And just quickly, my time ticking down, you mentioned that you have received complaints about access to information requests related to Iraq and what we've been discussing, and that you can't comment kind of further, but is there anything general you can say about the subject of these complaints that you might be able to share with us?
Well, generally, I can tell you again that if records don't exist, access does not exist. So there's within our authority to investigate, we will be looking at what people are asking for, whether it was created. But I'm limited to records. The Act applies to records that have been created and documented and managed properly.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Mr. Julian from the land of the New West Bruins. Welcome to OGGO. The floor is yours for 6 minutes.
Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you.
It's the block first. I apologize. We will get you in 6 minutes. Sorry about that, sir. Ms. Vignola, please, for 6 minutes.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur. Thank you very much, Chair. Madame Menel, thank you for being here today. I am going to take a more technical tack, something a bit more ground-based. The government says that there is procurement that can be followed up. Arrangements exist in terms of procurement. But that site does not give us any information. The government site does not give us any information about follow-up. We have the open government site, in addition, which does give information on contracts, but back to 2010. And, before 2010, good luck to find any information about any contract whatsoever. But we have the inverse with buy and sell. We have the contract, but we don't have the general details. We don't have the number of the contract. We don't have the multiplier. We don't have what's on Buy and Sell Canada procurement and so on. We don't have the details. So the validation and the clear computation of what was received in terms of a contract, what were the specifics of the contract, all of that becomes very difficult to decipher because we don't know anything beyond the original contract that might have been $50,000 and the ultimate ceiling, which might have been $250 million in this instance. So is there an aspect that in which open government is only words, just an expression that isn't translated into reality? Are there any insights? Are there people who look for information, who want to find information, but they can't? Well, once again, everything that you see on the various pages of the information that is on the government website and what is not disclosed, that information is given voluntarily or proactively disclosed because of the legislation. But my office has no authority to verify the research or to look further into that. I can tell you that I certainly would like to see more information because the website it makes information accessible, but it is almost too much, and it has to be easily accessible. So if there's a great deal of information, it may not be easy to actually track what you are looking for, to find the information that is relevant for you. I promote information, but you want it to be accessible information. Canadians who see information like that is incomplete, for example, or is very difficult to track, to find, lose a bit of trust in the information that they receive, or have only that to hold on to. We want to see more done so that Canadians can access a transparency. You know that there's an expression, divide and conquer. And when you go out and look at what was done in terms of open government here, it was almost like divide and conquer, rather. So, and that is my personal opinion that I am saying, of course. Madame Ménard, at present, currently, and in the future, given the burden of your task, does the government give you the funds that you really need to ensure that there is transparency in information? Currently, my office is funded to deal with 4,400 files per year. And over the course of the past year, we have received almost 8,000 complaints on an annual basis. This year, we received fewer complaints, but we were able to work on more files. But I don't have the funding to deal with the complete inventory of files. Some years it can go higher, and other years the workload is lower. So the funding for my office should reflect the demand, but presently we have to deal with all of the requests that are made to us under the existing funding system. Are there sectors of government that have asked you to make an effort, to try harder, to reduce the budgets, I can't think of the right word, to make some cutbacks? No, thank goodness, no. We have been spared the cutbacks.
Mr. Julian, now we will go to you. My apologies. I had hockey on my mind. So please go ahead, sir, for 6 minutes.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you so much, Chair. I'm here in the traditional unceded territory of the Kakite people. These are the people from the Salish West Coast. Thank you, Madame Ménard, for being with us today. We do know that this whole contracting out issue has been ongoing for years under the Harper administration and under various administrations. These issues of contracting out can lead to issues of transparency. Under Harper, we saw what happened. We saw Phoenix, and now we're seeing this with ArriveCan.
This massive increase in contracting out, both under the Conservatives and now under the Liberals. I wanted to ask you to start. You did mention that there were a number of complaints that have come in regarding ArriveCan. I'm wondering to what extent you're receiving complaints about government procurement in general, and particularly in relation to contracting out. And can you share with us the number of complaints that you have received on ArriveCan?
Specifically about ArriveCan, I cannot come up with an exact number. I think it's less than 20. But in general, with the government, contracting is a big issue, and it's definitely something that Canadians wants to know about. They are interested in finding out how much money is spent on what. Other companies are also interested in the information that, who got the submission, who won the bid. So we have a lot of requests from other public entities as well, or other private entities. Generally, contracts should be open. The clauses that are used for contracting is something that should be in the public domain. Very limited information on those contracts should be redacted. In our investigation, we are often finding that we have to recommend or order the disclosure of information that is not protected under the Act. I think that the exemptions under the Act are very specific, and you can find it under Section 20. The test is very limited, but unfortunately, third parties, contractors, subcontractors are often trying not to get that information out there in the public.
So thank you for this. Upwards of 20 complaints around ArriveCan. Do you have an estimate of the number of complaints that you've received about government procurement in general, particularly contracting out, which is started massively under the Harper Conservatives and has increased even more under the current government?
I don't have those numbers with me, but I can definitely send you a report with the number of requests or complaints that we have with respect to Section 20, which is related to contracting.
Merci beaucoup. Maintenant,
Thank you very much. All these questions about independent funding mechanisms, we saw that once again under the Harper regime. They cut a lot in the Auditor General's office in her budget, and it became very difficult for the Auditor General of the day to carry out audits. Are you underfunded? And are you subject to cuts that will make your task difficult? Is there an independent means of funding that would be preferable, that would allow you to do your work better? Because this is such an important issue for Canadians, providing transparency around government spending. An officer of Parliament is supposed to be independent of the government. We don't report to a minister.